Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the You Can Heal Global Summit. I am your host, Corrina Steward, and we are joined today by an incredible, amazing, ascending couple, Connie Baxter Marlowe and Andrew Cameron Bailey. Welcome. How are you?
Hello, it's good to be here.
Yes, here we are in Plymouth, Massachusetts, America's hometown.
That's right.
Amazing. Oh my goodness. You know, I'm from Mass. That's so interesting. We didn't touch on that. So many parallels that we have. Connie and Andrew and I were just, talking off air. And, I first want to tell you, they are these incredible visionaries, filmmakers, and authors. We're going to talk in length about their book, The Trust Frequency, the 10 Assumptions for a New Paradigm. They have done so much work around shifting your assumptions, understanding how assumptions really create the nature of reality that you live, and the potential and possibility for you to actually shift into a new paradigm, which is really connected into this larger shift that's happening on the planet. And of course, brings us into, the conversation today about how do we heal, how do we tap into this inner source of abundance and wealth that we is inherent in us and is really a part of our natural design. And Connie and Andrew bring a really unique perspective that comes out of indigenous cosmologies. So, again, I just want to welcome you and thank you so much for being here.
Well, because you're speaking our language and taking it further, and we're just excited because our thing has to do with indigenous cosmology and quantum science. It's really a synthesis of the two. It's neither indigenous cosmology nor quantum science in because quantum science can't prove the spirit. It can't prove the love. And the indigenous peoples are connected to a larger reality and understand our interconnectedness and our personal power within that, and how loved we are by this, what we call it.
I have such goosebumps every time you speak. I call them God bumps.
I apologize for that.
You don't need to.
But they understand how loved we are by a conscious, loving, abundant universe. All in their whole way of life, at their essence, is this consciousness of this universe that loves us, that brings us teachings, that brings an animal into our path to teach us something. How does that animal get there if it's not a conscious, loving universe? And abundance, they're not into hoarding and saving. It's about the giveaway. So now quantum science is bringing in scientific aspects of their reality that we brought into our paradigm.
Where would you like to go with?
Yeah, well, so before, we dive real deep into the principles, I'm really curious how you both came into this, particularly with the indigenous wisdom and cosmology. How did you first, bridge into that universe, I'll call it, because that's, I think that's probably a unique story.
It's pretty interesting for both of us. You want to go first?
All right, so I grew up in Africa. I was born in England and grew up in South Africa among the Zulus and the various tribal cultures there, and the monkeys and the surf and the climate, not too different from Puerto Rico. Really lovely people. And got interested in Buddhism and spiritual things at the age of 14. I was pretty early started with all of that, and ended up becoming a science guy. Ended up getting degrees in chemistry and physics and mathematics, and moving on to anthropology and literature. And I was teaching chemistry in college. And in a course on comparative religion, I was very interested in people's understanding of the spiritual nature of things. And I was not very interested in the mainstream religions. That just didn't light my fire. What did light my fire was what the tribal people, the ancient people, the indigenous people, what they believed, how they understood reality. And honestly, Connie just whispered the word quantum physics. And so I'm the science guy. I've got this degree, for example, in physics. I'm supposed to know something about quantum physics. And I really didn't. I just did not have, I was able to pass exams in it, but that's just memorizing stuff. And
Right.
but
You didn't have the visceral experience of it.
I never did have a physics professor who could light that fire. Okay?
Yeah.
So here I am a couple of years later, and I'm in a course on comparative religion, and I'm studying the Australian Aborigines and their belief system, their cosmology, their understanding of the dream time and how everything is being created right now. There's no time, there's no past, there's no present, there's only now, just sort of unfolding into reality as we speak. And the way I put it is, I realized that they were speaking pure poetic quantum science. On the spirit. And this is an anthropologist interpreting what they were saying. And I got something that really hit me hard. It was an awakening for me.
And my whole thing with Indigenous people has to do with the fact that when I was in my teens, I saw the love in the human heart through Florence Nightingale. I sort of had an epiphany that we have such love in the human heart. And the question I asked is, why aren't we living like that? Why aren't we living from that place? And somehow it came to me that we were missing pieces of our paradigm, because the scientific paradigm had holes in it, you know, and I'm like, excuse me, I'm not putting my life on a paradigm, a set of assumptions that has holes in it, that can't explain things that happen, paranormal stuff, etc. I mean, like, duh. So I said, okay, what are the missing pieces of the paradigm?
Right.
And I went looking for them. I took up with an Austrian Olympic ski champion who was very disciplined from East Tyrol, Austria, and he lived in America. But we went there. I went to Europe looking for these missing pieces, and I just found the same mindset, the same paradigm. And so I came back to the U.S. and I was in a bookstore in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and I picked up a book of Native American poetry. And I'm like, oh my God, 500 Indian nations have the clues to the missing pieces. And I had actually grown up in a family that had given away all their wealth in Maine. They had given away mountains and parks and libraries, and they just didn't believe in inherited wealth. And here, the native worldview is about the giveaway. You don't hoard, you give it away.
You trust.
You trust.
There's going to be more tomorrow.
There's going to be more tomorrow.
That's where the real wealth is.
Yeah, and so then very Indigenous elders started coming into my life, the visionary ones, the ones who were into the universal aspect of all four colors of man coming together and all that. It wasn't the separation that so many people hold. It was, you know, we are one, you know, we're all one, and they lived it, had all various people in their homes and taught universally. So on a blueprint, it's clear. We've got to figure it out, how the universe works, because it's really way beyond our ability to conceive. But I started getting clues, and I pieced together this trust frequency. I know it's there. Their reality embodies it. Nobody has lived it yet on the planet, I don't think, in its true form, because we've been in an evolutionary upward spiral. So it's up to us now to live that truth of the oneness and abundance and all that, which is what your work has to do with it. And our work too is to bring tools for healing the split in our psyche that has had us showing up for a world out of balance just to survive. And it's really brought disease and disillusionment and frustration and separation. And so our book, The Trust Frequency, brings tools for us to understand the conscious, loving, abundant nature of the universe and our place in it, what our requests are to that universe. So that's scary, and I'm sticking to it.
There we go. So there's so much I want to grab onto there. But I think let's talk first about how, you know, for this audience, you know, who primarily, if not 100%, are coming from a set of assumptions about money and wealth and the self, you know, which you talk about the psyche in your work, as, you know, something really pinged in me when you talked about, you know, the giveaway versus the hoarding. And, you know, primarily, you know, the primary culture is one where money and wealth and abundance is about possessing and owning, and the individual, maybe the individual and family, but not out of a source of love, right? Not this, what I talk about, a love currency, that money is actually this love currency. I'm curious from your own work and what, the workshops you've done, how do you help people to shift and make the flip to, understanding and really embodying the knowing that there is this trust frequency and that abundance is infinite, and that we live in this abundant universe, because we can hear it, right? But to actually embody that is the challenge I see, right? That's the challenge I see. So what's been your experience, and what supports people to pass through that journey and get to, the new paradigm?
You want it?
Okay. So just the fundamental difference between the reality that we are offering and consensus reality is that the reality we're offering is based on trust as opposed to fear. So the fear reality contains, just for example, scarcity. It's huge.
Yeah.
This whole fundamental assumption of scarcity, therefore we have to obtain stuff and keep stuff and fill basements and attics and storage units with stuff and make more money to get more stuff. And somehow we think that either makes us secure or happy or something. And it doesn't work that way, because if we are lacking in trust, if we are operating from a fear or lack-based reality, we can't possibly be happy. So really, to me, the wealth one might think about is not necessarily money or stuff. It's friends and love and confidence and just this feeling of being nurtured and sustained by a loving universe. It's very different from that cold, dead universe that we were raised to believe in, that the universe doesn't even know we exist. It's
Right.
a machine. How can it love us? Give me a break. From the old religious views, where God loves us, and very different from the indigenous views, where we're an inseparable part of this amazing interactive universe. So it's really about changing that fundamental point of view,
Right.
from into a trust-based reality. And the minute you succeed in doing that, it's not always easy. It's a process.
Right.
The minute you succeed in doing that, everything shifts. Circumstances can be exactly the same. Same job, same wife, children, whatever it may be. However, your attitude has changed. Your assumptions have changed. The way you experience the circumstances have changed. And it really, what an upgrade.
Yeah, and it has to do with these core assumptions about the nature of the universe, which in fact are our requests to a conscious, loving universe. Okay, so that's what we don't understand. What creates our vibratory level, okay? And what the nature of the universe is, like Andrew said, if it's a cold, dead universe that doesn't know we exist, and it doesn't matter what we think, what we feel, everything's going to happen to us. Life's a crapshoot, and we better get as much power and control over others and our circumstances. And that's what's driving the billionaires and all those people that are hoarding, because they feel that they have to have power and control over others, okay? So that their kids can be successful and survive. It really comes down to survival in in this scarcity-based paradigm, lower frequency. It's a lower frequency.
Yeah.
So what we bring is our understanding of what our requests are, what creates our frequency, okay? So we frame it in what are our requests to a conscious, loving universe that loves us so much that it gives us everything we ask for. What are we asking? How are we asking? That's the key that people don't understand. So it's truly a shift, a change of our mind, and that takes a nanosecond to do. But it's the longest road is from the head to the heart, and so it's really hard to do, except if you have an epiphany. You had an awakening. You know, people have an instant awakening. They can be in the shower. It can be driving in a traffic jam. It can be anywhere, anytime, if we allow it. And then we start seeing and feeling differently. And the people that are on this call are resonating. Their soul is calling for something else, so they wouldn't be here.
Correct.
I'm talking to you folks out there.
Yeah.
You know, you wouldn't be listening to us. You wouldn't be resonating to Corrina if your soul weren't asking for this. And so what we do, and we can give some tools during this half hour, so make sure you have some time to do this. So there's some takeaways.
Yeah.
So that's all we believe, that we just don't understand how the universe works. So we think that, you know, now the consciousness field is set on intent, because we know from The Secret and various things that we actually can control and manipulate the unified field.
Mm-hmm.
But why would we, is what we're putting out. Why would we do that? Because the universe wants way more for us than we can fathom, because in the higher frequencies, the abundance beyond anything we can fathom exists. And the whole ball game we're playing down here, which isn't any fun, which isn't fun money, it's not fun wealth to get and to have and to hold and to, there is fun money, there's fun wealth, there's fun to be had, there's a party going on, it's just in a higher frequency.
I love that. You guys say that.
We're all invited to this party, we just don't know how to get there.
Yeah.
We're giving
Key to the door.
giving the key to the door.
So what's the key? So let's talk about some of the tools. You know, I mean, we know the possibility. I mean, really anyone can just have that split shift and frequency. And really, just to say to everyone listening, being in this frequency with us here in this conversation, it's here. So it can just happen in that spontaneous way. But what are some of the tools that you do, you know, guide people with to, you know, make that journey from this lockdown mind to an expanded mind and into the heart, and really bridging that heart mind?
Well, one thing, our approach is intellectual, really, because it's our intellect. It's informational. Because our intellect, you know, we can have that epiphany in 1 minute, and the next minute go, oh no, I've got to show up in the real world, and I can't do that.
Okay. Yeah.
So what we have to understand with our intellect is, what I would say is, listen to the song Imagine every day and know that that is the true nature of the universe. And it will happen. Like you said, one day we'll do it. Okay, we're going to do this thing. The earth is moving into a higher frequency. We can trust it, that it's happening. And how else would they, we've got some other tools for people, which is to understand that there is only love, that everything that happens in our life happens for us, not to us, that we're on our soul's journey to wholeness. Yeah. And that we've given overarching act of free will to come on the earth to go through some lessons. And we don't know even our own soul's journey, let alone another's. And so it's pretty radical what we're bringing with this. Yeah. There is only love. Okay. So that's one to cogitate, because if one thinks that God is love, that God is everything, then everything is love.
Has to be. And
that flips everything. It takes us out of duality. Okay. Right. So that's for big picture thinkers. Yeah. But we want people to understand is that our consciousness creates reality. Okay. So what are the attributes of our consciousness that actually create our vibratory level? And so it's just physics. Right. Simply physics. You want to take the love part out? It's simply physics. What vibratory level are you vibrating at? Therefore, what is the nature of your reality? Because the different frequencies have different laws.
Yes, which is important, right? That's really important. So let's talk about now being in the trust frequency. What is one of the core principles of being in that frequency?
Well, the core principle is that there's only love. That where everything happens for us, not to us. Yeah. Okay. And here are the 7 aspects of our consciousness. Andrew's got the book there.
Got the book right there, everyone.
You were asking for what tools? This
Yeah.
is, the book is a toolbox. It's an
Awesome.
entire toolkit specifically on that. It's called The Trust Frequency,
Mm-hmm.
and the subtitle is 10 Assumptions for a New Paradigm. So our paradigm, our worldview, the way we experience reality is based on our assumptions. An assumption is a belief that we probably took on unconsciously and we never question it. And so the trick is to question our assumptions.
I love it. You got it. Yeah.
In that regard, okay? I just
Yeah.
want to mention in case we didn't get to the
But
book.
for a takeaway, you wanted a takeaway. And so here are the 7 aspects of our consciousness that create our vibratory level, that are our requests to this conscious, loving universe. There's nothing else. It has to respond. And so here are the 7 A's in a sentence.
Okay.
And I'm going to read it because I know it, but I'm going to read it.
Perfect.
With expanded awareness and accurate assumptions, we choose our attitude, consciously direct our attention, align with our highest inner promptings, take committed action. That's the kicker.
Yeah.
You actually have to live from that place. You actually have to do it. Take committed action and allow the loving universe to manifest beyond our wildest dreams.
Ah,
Okay?
So
that
there's
works for me. That works for me. I'll read that every morning.
Yeah, every morning, and we can check our 7 A's. And get up in the morning and say, okay, where are my 7 A's today? You're going to be standing in the grocery store. Okay, what am I putting my attention on? You know, what,
Yeah.
you know,
because we can change that. We might be putting our attention on the news and it's depressing, and we can say,
Right.
oh, we can change where we put our attention and live and have a good day.
Right.
one thing, see, in my world, there's only the coming of peace on earth and heaven on earth.
Yeah.
That's all there is. There's nothing. Never
I'm with you there. Yeah.
else. So when you have that core assumption, it changes everything, because the answers you get depend on the questions you ask.
You got it. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you know we're on an evolutionary upward spiral, and you ask, how does this serve the coming of peace on earth and heaven on earth? Every single thing that's happening today, right now. The climate change, the hurricanes, the political situation, it has to serve the coming of peace on earth. How does it do that? Well, that's the question, and wait for your answer and see what you get. Rather than, oh, humanity's going down, we're going into extinction, and we've had it, and we're just horrible, blight to the earth and to the cosmos. No, the whole cosmos is waiting for the love in our heart to be released. It's going to shift everything in the entire universe.
That's right.
So there.
Yeah, it's super powerful what you're saying, because I'm having that's why in my own world, I believe the same as you, that everything, not only there's love in everything, but that we are creating peace on earth, and we're creating this new reality of total abundance, total love. And so it serves you so well when you trust that, because nothing then that happens to you is out of sync with that. Everything is a gift. I'm in this experience of having gone through a hurricane, and many say, oh, it must be so hard. It must be. No, in fact, this has been an incredible experience of abundance.
True abundance.
True abundance. Exactly.
Set up to make it look abundant isn't.
Right.
It's debt. It's all debt driven.
Right.
And it's scarcity. It's separation. It's competition. It's not fun.
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
hold on to it? And so Mother Nature's helping us get rid of it with all this destruction.
That's right.
Situation, destroying everything we thought was okay. It wasn't.
Yeah. That's right. That's right.
Indeed.
Yeah, incredible. So I know you have some new work you're just putting together, and you're going to offer this to to our audience. I'm wondering if you could hold that up for us and just tell us a bit about, you know, what is this all about? What does it offer to people? How can they use it?
Well, this is just an outline, a visual outline of these concepts that we'll be offering as our gift. You can print and put on their walls to remind them. So it's really transformation through trust, which is what we give workshops, and it has to do with the fact that once we heal the split in our psyches and we trust and we walk from that place, we're going to have a whole new reality. And Henry David Thoreau, I don't know if you know who he is, the you know, he wrote Walden, and he said in his conclusion to Walden, I learned this, at least by my experiment being at Walden Pond, that if one walks confidently in the direction of his dreams, he will pass a certain boundary. He will experience a success unexpected in common hour. The laws that apply to him will be expanded, or new laws will be made in his favor. He will live with the license of a higher order of beings.
Powerful, powerful.
That's America's great philosopher, and that's the summary of the entire Trust Frequency book. That's it. We just expand on how do we do that? How do we get the practical boots on the ground steps can we take to get there and stay there?
I get it. I mean, and I love, it's so fascinating to me how much, you know, these codes, right, from Imagine to a Thoreau's quote, to Trust Frequency, are all these coded blueprints of this future that we're creating, we're co-creating. So incredible. Well, listen,
pulling us forth. It's pulling us forth. It is our true nature. It is the true nature of the universe. It's just a veil that's separated us from that.
Yeah.
And we have to choose it. We have to choose to embody it now. Live it, walk it, be it. That's the only way it's going to get to the planet.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unfortunately, because that takes
us
going inside, healing the split in our psyches, healing our shadow, coming into our understanding of our divinity and how we are love, how we loved, and how we are loved, and how we're an agent of the divine, a roving sensory organ of the divine, and healing that on this journey to wholeness and moving forward into this frequency.
Well, thank you, Connie and Andrew. Thank you so much. I know we could really be in this space together for quite a while. How can people connect with you? What's the best way to find you?
So there's a website, www.thetrustfrequency.net. Whether it's net, won't get there.com. Thetrustfrequency.net. That'll pretty much connect you to all of the work, all of the books, the films, the various ways of getting in touch with us. What else, Connie?
We do a whole lot of work around the founding of this country, of America, and the syntheses between the European colonists and the American Indian that gave birth to the American mind and spirit and democracy. So we're working to bring the indigenous role in the evolution of consciousness that has occurred in the past and has yet to occur. So people can go to our website first, FIRST 50 years, YEARS.US.
Okay.
There was a remarkable thing that happened right here in Plymouth, Massachusetts, coming up 400 years ago. 54 years of peace and friendship between the settlers and the native people.
Oh, fascinating.
Misunderstood time.
Yeah.
Misunderstood.
Oh, very interesting. Yeah, and it's all about the story, right? Then revealing the authentic story.
Yeah, and something beautiful sat at the founding of this country. It lasted 54 years. People say, well, it only lasted 54 years. Well, guess what? That's
a long time.
Two cultures to live together in harmony.
Yeah. Well, Thank you so very much. And, you know, just thank you so much from my heart for all the work that both of you have been doing all these years in changing our minds, opening our hearts, you know, really bridging, you know, the paradigm into the new. So I thank you.
Thank you for honoring us, for bringing us on. You know, we so appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right, everyone. Well, thank you again for tuning in. We will be coming up with another set of interviews. Check your inbox for that. And until then, have an amazing, abundant, soul wealthy day.